आपके हिसाब से व्हाट एग्जैक्टली अ साइंटिस्ट इज? साइंटिस्ट क्या है? मतलब किसी यूनिवर्सिटी या किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के दी हुई कोई डिजिग्नेशन है, या फिर कोई एक मतलब कोई अचीवमेंट है साइंटिस्ट होना? व्हाट इज अ साइंटिस्ट? व्हाट एग्जैक्टली डू वी लाइक, व्हाट डू यू थिंक अ साइंटिस्ट शुड बी?
Okay. I've not thought about this. I will tell you. जो भी आता है दिल में बताऊंगा आपको.
जी सर, वही।
So a scientist, I think, doesn't have to be professional. Should have the right sense of values. You should want to know what is the truth in a given situation. If you don't care about the truth, you're not a scientist. That's the first thing. Secondly, you can find the truth yourself. That's an active scientist. You can also be interested in what others have found. That's a passive scientist. But people who really want to know about how DNA works or how rockets work, in some sense, they are scientists. They're interested in science, but they're not contributing to it, but they appreciate it. It's like saying, do you appreciate music or do you play music? You can appreciate music without being able to play anything. I'm an example. You can appreciate science without being able to invent science. I don't know if you're a I would call you a scientist, but if you still are attracted to questions that are not human, that are not personal, that are not day to day, but goes above and beyond our daily life, things that will survive the human race, then I would say you're a scientist. But if you cannot get a job being a passive scientist, get a job by being an active scientist, then you have to discover something on your own. That is much more difficult. A lot of us get into physics because we like what we read. Like I read about relativity, found it very interesting. That's like saying I saw a tennis game and I found it interesting. That doesn't mean I am meant to play tennis. For that, you grab a racket, then you find out you're an awful player, but you can still appreciate tennis. That can happen to anybody who goes into science because science looks very sexy and interesting. But maybe it's not for you. So over the years, I found out how hard it is to discover anything. When you learn the subject, you certainly admire what some people did, but only when you try to do it yourself, you realize how difficult it is. How to say something that is true, something that has not been said before, that something that can be tested. Another property of science, apparently, is that you will admit when you're wrong. You cannot be in denial, and you don't know where the objection will come from. Very often, if some very young person challenges you, you tend to dismiss them. But that's the beauty of science. In the long run, you cannot dismiss anybody who's right. That's the part. If you have to believe in that. You have to believe that that's an objective truth and that our goal is to find it. And if you screwed up, you got to admit